Welcome to Worlds Apart, Words Together, where best friends share laughter, stories, and an unbreakable bond.
Welcome back, guys. We're
It's been a
back.
minute.
It has been a minute. It's been 2 weeks since we last recorded slash uploaded a episode. Um, we were gonna try to do one during my vacation, but it just didn't happen. So we decided to push it until after the vacation. So here we are.
Yes. And I guess from the vacation you spent part of it, I guess you can explain what you kind of like your travel route. But part of it was kind of just like relaxing, and the other part
Yeah.
was, I guess, going to being a spectator at the Olympics.
Yes. I used to hope I would compete at one of the Olympics, but that dream has faded very a while ago. Um, but so we started our travels. Well, basically, Michael arrived July 16th, and well, actually July 17th, because due to the tornadoes in Chicago, his flight got pushed back. So he arrived, and then we had a birthday, and then we went to the working palace of the King of the Netherlands, where he usually does his working, but then once a year they open it up to the public so the public can have a look at where the king works.
Nice.
Um, so that was kind of our vacation starter with the birthday and the palace. And then we left to Normandy in France, and we spent most of those days diving into the World War history.
Okay.
Um, and I thought, especially for Michael, it was a lot of fun and interesting because he is the American in the family, so he has a good connection when it comes to D-Day and all of that. For the people who don't know, Normandy in France is basically where D-Day happened and where the British and American, Canadian, and more soldiers invaded France, basically on a path to freedom of the war. This happened June 16th, 1944, and they made their way to northern France up into the rest of Europe. And it took them almost a year to free also the Netherlands.
Hmm.
So it took them a while, but it was so interesting to learn about that. And then we drove to Paris, which was like a 4 hour drive from Normandy. So it wasn't
That's
too
not bad.
bad. No, not bad at all. The day we
And you
got
can see
there,
like part of the countryside and stuff of France too.
yeah, it was really pretty because France has a lot of hills. Lots of like we were in the part of the Champagne district too, I think, where we drove
I
past.
I don't know what
I don't know either. I'm not that much into it.
that like
um,
their like champagne. I thought that was is that a ruler? Is that one of their? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I'm not really great with European history. English history I'm okay with, but European history I'm not great with.
I'm not either, and especially not when it comes to the alcohol regions either. Like I don't know. I just know there is a Champagne region, and I think we passed it a little bit,
Oh,
but
was there lots of grapes?
no,
Oh,
then
then
maybe
maybe
we
not. I
didn't.
don't know.
But the day we arrived, it was pouring rain.
Oh,
It was so bad. It was just rainy all day. And we were like, if this is going to be the entire week, it's going to be no fun.
it's been hot
Uh,
there according to the broadcasters.
well, that was the Saturday that we arrived. The Sunday, it started to heat up and we felt it. It's so the Sunday we went to the Timanel house. A lot of teams have their own house at the Olympics where spectators can gather and watch sports together, celebrate their medals, and just hang out.
Yeah.
So we went to the Timanel house. Um, but it was
Okay, and
still,
also for those who don't know what NL is, that's just Netherlands.
yeah,
Okay.
Timonel.
Some people might not
Good
know
that you
that.
say that because we were one time in a train and I was wearing a Timonel hat, and this woman was like, "What does an L stand for?" I was also wearing complete everything orange, so I was like, the Netherlands. She's like, "Oh, okay." It's like, yeah. I also had earrings that were literal wooden shoes. I was like, okay, whatever. I guess you don't know your countries very well. Um, but yeah, so we went to the Dutch house and they had this radio station there. And the people from the radio went to the US house because, yeah, the reason they did that is because the entrance to the US house was $350 for the three of them, I think. So like
Okay.
115 per person. Access to the Team NL house, $30. So Team USA house, you had to pay 100 something per person. Um, and they made a checklist to see if they thought it was worth it to visit.
Mm,
They didn't think it was.
no.
They were like, there were no strippers, there was no Simone Biles, there was not barbecue. That it's like, okay, just like typical American things, I guess.
I would not consider strippers to be American. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I guess that is the
Was
way
it?
the world looks at the US. Strippers,
I mean, maybe if you were to go to Vegas, but I don't know about.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But they expected to have strippers there because they had to pay so much, but they didn't have them, so they were very disappointed.
Interesting.
But that day it was still cool enough for us to sit outside,
Okay.
um, and even a little bit in the sun. But the days afterwards, it was cooking in the
Yeah,
sun.
I felt so bad for like some of the outdoor sports. Like, I don't know how they continue. Like that, so awful.
Yeah. So we had hockey, field hockey on Monday, and we had the side of the stadium where we were in the sun at first, but then as the sun turned, we were in the shade because it had a little roof.
Hmm.
And even with 25 degrees in the sun, it was smoking hot.
Well, the
So we were,
humidity there, well, I heard, was also pretty bad, especially with that rain that had come.
yeah, yeah. So it was just a combination of the sun, the humidity, and just the sitting on bleachers that didn't help.
Was it? Were they metal bleachers?
We had plastic,
Okay.
so it's not much better.
No, but metal, you would be like burning yourself.
Yeah, yeah. But we had it in the morning, so it was fine. We didn't have it at the middle of the day. Um, the only thing though is that we just had to walk so much. Like they have these venues at locations where
Mhm.
there is public transit, so you can go there easily. But then from the station to the venue, you have to walk at least 15-20 minutes,
Oh wow.
which in itself isn't bad. But when you have that sun cooking and the humidity, like it's bad.
Yeah, for sure.
um,
So, were you guys? So, the house was in the Olympic Village, correct?
no, they
No.
had no. So they had a different part of Paris
Okay.
where they had a bunch of houses together. So they had the France house, the Dutch house, the Mongolian house, I think, all in like a similar park square
Okay.
area. But then the USA house was in a different part of Paris, so they had to spread
Yeah.
it out a little bit.
Okay.
The We have not seen anything of the Olympic Village because that is so secluded,
Mm,
strictly for athletes,
fair.
that like as spectators you don't see anything
Yeah,
from
that's
the
fair.
Olympic Village.
I just heard that the Olympic Village transportation was horrendous. But
Really?
again, that's just broadcasters talking. Like you don't. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've not really heard much from an actual athlete to say.
I I don't know either. I know that from what I've heard is that compared to Tokyo, it's a little bit more walking to where you need to go than it was in Tokyo.
Okay.
Um, but if you think about it, like it is Europe and it is France, and there's not really a lot of room for different type of transportation.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what I heard. But on Tuesday we had a little bit of Paris during the day, but it was just so warm that we were like, we're not gonna spend all day in Paris and then all night at the game. So we kind of decided to chill out a little bit in the morning. Um, and then we had beach volleyball at night, and that was such a good vibe. It was so much
Oh, I'm
fun.
sure. There's been
Yeah,
a lot of people at the beach volleyball games.
yeah. I mean, they all do it for the venue
Yeah, that's fair. They want to, yeah.
because it was literally you have the court and bleachers all around the court, and the Eiffel Tower is on one side of the court, and behind it you have like an entire field that just has view on the Eiffel Tower. So
Okay.
it's like wherever you are in the stadium, you can see the Eiffel Tower,
Yeah.
and the players can see the Eiffel Tower while they're playing. So I bet a bunch of the people who are at the beach volleyball just did it for the venue.
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them. We mostly did it for the venue too. We were just lucky to have someone who actually enjoys and plays volleyball. So,
Yeah.
but those games were fun. They really put a lot of good vibes into the game too, like the announcers and stuff.
Well,
So
that's
they
good.
really try to make it like a good little party kind of. My mom said that she didn't really feel that with hockey. I was like, well, with hockey, you're just kind of constantly playing. But
Yeah.
with beach, like, every time you have a point, you have a little bit of time to reset where you can play a little cheer or something to keep the crowd engaged. But with hockey, it's just playing time. So you're just sitting
Yeah,
there
like other
cheering.
than like timeouts or something, it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
get
Um,
engaged.
and then the day after that, we had water polo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that also was very fun. Also, very fast
Yes.
game. So, really cool to look. We had a USA team
Okay.
and they won. So, that
Nice.
was pretty cool. The only thing we did not like about that was the distance from the train station to the venue. And the only reason we didn't like it is because there was a path that could lead you straight to the arena, but instead they made you walk all around it to then enter on the other side.
Oh, of the venue.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's annoying.
it's so annoying. So we were all kind of just done with all the walking. We're like, we're so done with this.
Hey, well, at least you stayed active. That's not a concern.
Dude, we stayed active, yes, for sure. But our feet were just in pain. And I made the poor decision to wear sandals one night, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, I should not have done
you need
this.
the tennis shoes. You gotta have the shoes.
Yeah. And then on Thursday, we decided to have a little bit of a relaxed day because we needed it. We slept in. Michael and I did not wake up until like 11:30.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
I
we
could never
slept
do
in
that.
good.
Could never do that.
Yeah. Well, it was because the Team and L house, we got back at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and for the hockey, we had to wake up at 6.
Yeah, but still,
So
I don't think I could do that.
I don't know. We were tired.
That's fair. I don't blame you.
But then on Friday, we kind of ended our trip with a day in Disney.
That's right. I forgot about that. How was Disney?
It was very quiet. There was,
Really?
yeah, there was no one. Well, there were people,
I
but
mean, that honestly, I guess that doesn't surprise me with the Olympics, and a lot of people
yeah.
just tried to get the blank out of France for the whole
Yeah, no, totally. But
show.
we kind of at first expected it to be busy because we were like, people who are going to go to the Olympics might also want to take a trip to Disney, like we did.
Maybe, yeah.
Um, but then we saw on the app, like the days leading up to our trip to Disney, that it was super quiet in the park. And we were like, okay, maybe people really only go to Paris for the Olympics right now. And they just skip Disney. And that is what happened. I think the longest we've waited was 40 minutes.
That's not bad.
No. And the other attractions weren't even like close. It was 20, 10. Like, it was super short waits. The only thing that sucked though was that a lot of attractions were closed for no reason.
Just like lack of workers, or just
I think a lot of technical problems.
oh, interesting. Okay.
Um, we've been lucky like two times though. So there were four attractions closed that we wanted to do, and then as we were walking like towards it, but to go somewhere else, the attraction opened.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so literally as we walked past it, we could basically go into the waiting line. So it only took us like 10 minutes to get through.
That's lucky.
Um,
That's really
yeah,
lucky.
we got really lucky with that one. And then one of our favorites, the Buzz Lightyear. I don't know if you know that attraction. I don't know if you've ever been.
The Buzz Lightyear one.
Yeah.
I don't think that was around when I went to Disney.
Okay, so it's basically you sit in a cart with two people and you have this Buzz Lightyear gun and you can shoot on aliens and things to get points. And you're kind of competing against each other to get points.
Okay.
And we all wanted to do that, but it was closed all day. And then I think at 8 o'clock, like 3 hours before the park closed, it opened again. And everybody went to the Buzz
Oh,
Lightyear.
I bet.
Like, that's also where we waited the longest because everybody wanted to go there.
Yeah.
um, but it was fun. I haven't been to Disney for a long time, so it was cool.
I was gonna say, yeah, the
Um,
last time I went to Disney, I was probably like 3 or 4.
yeah.
So it's
Wow.
been 2 decades.
Damn, that's a very long time. Yeah.
I'm not a Disney person, so there's
Yeah.
other things and other places I would rather go than spend
Understandable.
hundreds of dollars either LA or Florida. So
Yeah. That was the thing too because I think they noticed that they didn't sell as many tickets and they lowered the prices.
nice.
So now we could buy tickets in a group because we were with six and we
Yeah,
paid at least $30 less than usually.
that's convenient.
Yeah. So that's why we also kind of decided to just go there. And we literally, our apartment, because we had an apartment outside of Paris,
Yeah.
was a 30-minute walk and like a 10-minute drive from Disney.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, it was so close.
Yeah.
So because of those reasons, we were like, we're just gonna go. Fuck
I
it,
mean,
we're
might
doing
as well if you're right
it.
there and you want to go. I mean, it's kind
Yeah.
of silly not to just bite the bullet, so to speak, and just
Yeah.
take a
And
day.
especially because we wanted to avoid the city with everything going on. We were like, we'll just go to Disney and make it a fun little day. So
Yeah,
it was good. It was a good way to end our vacation, basically.
that's good. What was your
Yeah.
favorite French food that you ate? Or
The
meal?
croissants.
The croissants, are they good?
Yeah.
I can
They're
imagine.
just so different. They're just so much fluffier. Yeah. Like you can really taste the difference between a French croissant and a not French croissant.
The rest of the world croissant.
Yeah. But honestly, like the croissants in the Netherlands are already pretty good, but then if you go to France, you're like, wow, this is a good croissant.
I feel like that's how pasta is for Italy.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah. Um, what else? They also do cheese. They do really good cheeses.
Okay.
Yeah. And then besides that, we didn't really eat typical French food.
Hmm.
Well, we ate the crepes, but they call it when you have savory toppings on them, you call them galettes.
Hmm.
So we had a few of those, which were very good also. Yeah. And macarons, of course.
Yes.
They were very tasty.
Well, it sounds like it was a quite an experience.
It was. It definitely felt longer than 2 weeks. Um, and I started working again yesterday and had my first official clients.
Nice.
So now I'm like exhausted and ready to go to bed. No,
Yeah.
but it was
Feel
good.
that.
It was really just getting away from everything for a little bit, and it was fun too because it was the first time with the six of us that we were on vacation. So it's good to have Michael here and integrate with us a little bit more.
How did he enjoy all the travel?
It was a lot for sure, especially because he arrived literally 4 days
I
before
was
we
gonna say he
left
was
for
probably
Paris.
still struggling with a little bit of jet lag.
Yeah, yeah, he was able though to rest the days after he arrived, but still, it's so many new impressions. Um, but he tried to let that go as much as he could and just enjoy mostly spending time with us. And I think that worked quite well.
Yeah, well, the good thing
Um,
is now that he's in the Netherlands, like all that stuff is so close, so you can always go back.
yeah, exactly, because we didn't really get to see the typical Paris things because it was either too busy or we just needed to get to the venue for the sport.
Well,
Um,
yeah, and it would be nice, like if there were certain things you wanted to see to go there without the Olympics to see like typical
yeah,
Paris, and not have to
yeah,
deal with the influx of people and busyness and heat and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
And literally every monument that is now in Paris has something decorated for the Olympics. So the
Yeah,
Eiffel Tower has the rings, the
yeah,
um, Arc de Triomphe has the Paralympic symbol. So it's like even if you take a picture of it, it's still Olympic vibe.
yeah.
Um,
We should go back when that's not a thing, and you can see like
yeah,
standard or
yeah,
like
we would love to just spend some time in the Louvre to look at the paintings and look at the art. So we'll definitely go back at some point, but first his volleyball career has got to start.
fair, fair.
But next week he will start.
Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, so exciting things happening here, but also with you.
Yeah, nothing yet. I'm just still in the process of unpacking and packing and moving for the third time. So yeah, that's about it. And I guess in like 2 weeks time, 2.5 weeks time is the big excitement, the big move, the big like,
Yeah.
oh crap, is actually happening. Because right now, so I'm just so stressed with getting everything in order, doing all the
Yeah.
orientation, all the onboarding, all the nitpicky legal crap, and then having that weird like in between move to stay with my grandmother before this apartment opened up was just like extra stress on top of having to find an apartment up there without actually
Yeah.
being there, and then kind of being screwed over because the real estate agency that has monopoly on pretty much all real like rent like apartment real estate up there is not very trustworthy. So I'm in a battle to get my deposit back from that. But I did
Yeah.
find a place, and it's from what I've read and kind of like seen, it's one of the best areas in Connecticut that you can stay.
Okay.
It's like this little town that grew up around the lake, so everything's near that lake, and there's like a lot of
That's fun.
trails. There's like this tiny like main street area, so it's small. It's much smaller, but I'm really happy just to actually have a place because I mean, no
Yeah.
matter where I would be staying, I would be shooting dark, and this was the same price as where. the other places I was looking, and it's only 10 minutes away from where I'd be working. So, I mean, really, for what it is, I'm hoping, knock on wood, I've only seen a video of the inside though. It's going to be nice, and I'm going to enjoy my 1 to 2
Yeah.
or whatever years I'm going to be in that rental. And Hunter's going to like it, and it's kind of just, it's nice to say I actually have a place to move in, and I
Yeah.
will actually be getting keys. It just sucks that I lost $1,400 in the process, but I
Hopefully
could,
you can get it back.
yeah, well, don't hold your breath because I've heard some really bad things about that place now. Um, but yeah, I
Well,
think,
at least it's only 1400
yeah.
and not just
Well, I'm glad I did not move into one of their complexes and then
yeah.
be royally screwed or not even have a place to stay because
Yeah.
their
And from what
location.
it sounds like, this place that you have now is just a lot more homey and
Yeah, it is.
trustworthy.
I think it's gonna be much more peaceful. The actual like landlord of the building lives in one of the apartments there, and then there's a UConn faculty member, I believe she said, that lives in the third space. So
Okay.
I feel like it's gonna be more like quiet, more peaceful.
Yeah. Just a
Just
better environment to be in.
not gonna have like students on either side. I'm not gonna have like loud distractions, people throwing parties or whatever might be happening. Because I am gonna be by myself, and that was the other thing that we had to take into consideration is for 6 months, 7 months, essentially, I'm gonna be by myself, and we
Yeah.
had to really think about: is this a place where I would feel comfortable staying by myself? Would I feel safe, feel like being by myself?
Yeah.
And with the owner being there in one of the apartments, the building's gonna be taken care of a little bit better. She's not gonna
Yeah.
want to live in trash conditions, um, and she's gonna want what's best, for her, and therefore the building, and therefore me. And
Yeah.
then also just having someone who also works slash commutes to Yukon will be helpful in case for some reason my car broke down or like it was snowing
Yeah. Or
or
just
for some,
anything
if
happens.
yeah, if anything happened, I'll be like, hey, like hopefully some sort of like in case, like, worst case scenario connection could be made. But at least
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, well, we're going in a similar direction, even though we're like probably nowhere close to doing anything in the same department. But it's still just knowing
Yeah.
that that person will also be going. And I think that person is a female too, so maybe,
Okay.
less chance of some things happening. But I don't know. I just feel like overall it was a blessing in disguise that I just said we'll forfeit the 1,400 and fight it, and then just went with this other place because
Yeah.
I think without being there in person, right now I feel that I would be more confident being there and feel safe being there by myself.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, it's a small place, but oh well. I don't need anything big right now.
And we'll continue to talk about that move whenever it gets closer or whenever it happened. And I'm sure our listeners maybe would like to hear more, and we can maybe do a little post on Instagram too to post some pictures about our new work environments or something like that to keep our followers in the loop,
Yeah,
basically.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I think we're going to wrap it up for this week. Starting next week.